Part 7, Chapter 3. Matthias Anderson was the station foreman at Stromness. He had never met Shackleton, but along with everyone else at South Georgia, he knew that the Endurance had sailed from there in 1914 and had undoubtedly been lost with all hands in the Weddell Sea. Just then, however, his thoughts were a long way from Shackleton and the ill-fated Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition. He had put in a long workday beginning at 7 a.m., and it was now after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was tired. He was standing on the dock, supervising a group of his men who were unloading supplies from a boat. Just then he heard an outcry and looked up. 2 small boys about 11 years old were running, not in play but in terror. Behind them, Anderson saw the figures of 3 men walking slowly and with great wariness in his direction. He was puzzled. They were strangers, certainly, but that was not so unusual as the fact that they were coming, not from the docks where a ship might come in, but from the direction of the mountains, the interior of the island. As they drew closer, he saw that they were heavily bearded, and their faces were almost black except for their eyes. Their hair was as long as a woman's and hung down almost to their shoulders. For some reason, it looked stringy and stiff. Their clothing was peculiar, too. It was not the sweaters and boots worn by seamen. Instead, the 3 men appeared to have on parkas, though it was hard to tell because their garments were in such a ragged state. By then, the workmen had stopped what they were doing to stare at the 3 strangers approaching. The foreman stepped forward to meet them. The man in the center spoke in English. "Would you please take us to Anton Anderson?" he said softly. The foreman shook his head. Anton Anderson was not at Stromness any longer, he explained. He had been replaced by the regular factory manager, Thoraf Sorrel. The Englishman seemed pleased. "Good," he said. "I know him well." The foreman led the way to his house, about 100 yards off to the right. Almost all the workmen on the pier had left their jobs to come see the 3 strangers who had appeared at the dock. Now they lined the route, looking curiously at the foreman and his 3 companions. Anderson knocked at the manager's door, and after a moment, he himself opened it. He was in his shirt sleeves, and he still sported his big handlebar mustache. When he saw the 3 men, he stepped back, and a look of disbelief came over his face. For a long moment, he stood shocked and silent before he spoke. "Who the hell are you?" he said at last. The man in the center stepped forward. "My name is Shackleton," he replied in a quiet voice. Again there was silence. Some said that Sorrel turned away and wept.